Good evening and welcome to episode 1 of the Above Average Joe's podcast. And I guess he's having troubles already. Episode 1.
It's making friends.
Always making friends.
Always making friends.
Always making friends. So, we're
What do
gonna
we
do
know?
we're gonna do this, I guess.
We're gonna do this. Like a fat kid on a Smartie.
Like for reals.
Like for reals. Really, really?
Really, really. So, let's start with NHL, I guess.
NHL,
What's the
big day.
big news of the day?
Big news of the day. Well, yesterday, to be precise, I guess, but
Yeah, we weren't on the air yesterday.
we weren't on the air. Okay. That's the world's loss, I guess.
That's right.
Yeah. Low stress on our part.
Until somebody starts to pay us, it's going to be once a week.
Full Cuba Gooding Jr., hey? Show me
the money. Show me the money. They're going to we'll pay you to stop talking. Sure.
My wife might dip in to
Hey.
to the funds and support that cause, but I'm sure
Straight cash, homie.
straight cash, homie.
Okay, so Taylor Hall.
Taylor Hall.
What's your thoughts?
Taylor Hall?
Yes, on the
Or
trade.
or the deal?
The deal.
Well,
Seemed pretty good to me.
there's a lot of people that think that the Devils did pretty good in getting 3 prospects and potentially 2 first-rounders, but even a first and a third. But generally speaking, most NHL deals, most deals in general, are judged by who got the best player.
Exactly.
I would say Arizona won the trade.
I say Arizona won. They didn't give anything up.
For sure. Well, I
Well-
mean, they did, but they didn't. I mean, theoretically, yes, a first and a third in terms of the picks. We'll just talk picks
Right.
at first. The first round pick is a mid-round to low-round pick because they're at the top of the standings. They should finish somewhere in that last 8 standing type.
They should only be better now.
Scenario, right? Exactly. And now they've got a little more punch up front. His possession numbers are pretty good versus, he's a good player. He's a good hockey player. But that first and that third turns into a first and a second. It's all conditionals, right? And it can be
Right.
2 firsts. And Arizona's got new ownership. They want to win. They want to spend money. He very well could re-sign there. I mean, I think he's smart to explore the market. He's 28 and he's never been a true free agent. May as well go see what's out there. Even if you do come back, at least go check, kick some tires. Get wined and dined. Why not, right? You're young once. Go for it. See what happens. But if he does re-sign there, he's a $11 to $12 million guy.
But they don't really have a
They don't
big
really,
big
No.
roster
Well,
for
and I mean,
money-wise.
not really, no. And I mean, they could probably fit him in, but not a problem. But it's going to be, can he come in? Can he make enough of an impact that they feel comfortable signing him? And he's going to be a contributor down the road. If it's a bad fit, he may want to walk. They may want him to walk. We've seen that happen. I don't know.
He's supposed to play tonight.
He's supposed to play tonight. So I mean, I'm very doubtful that he wouldn't fit in, or you wouldn't find a way to fit him in,
Right.
because with new owners and a quality coach like they have a deep young blue line. So why not, right? Get him in there, make yourself deeper. They went for Kessel. They're swinging for the fences. Go big or go home, right? Well, I mean, say what you want about Phil, but the Pillsbury score boy, he's still a bona fide 30-goal guy. So
How many goals has he got this year? 7
something like
in
that.
35 games?
But he's always been a little streaky though too, right? And this helps their power play. That helps Kessel, getting the stress off him. He did way better when he was in Pittsburgh and not going against top shutdown lines. That when he went to that was a genius move by the coach, ballsy, but not a lot of guys buy into being a third liner when they're of that stature, right? So for that reason alone, Kessel may not be matching up really well on a first line type situation. Second line might be better, or even deeper than that. You're good. So they got a couple young pieces to play with them. So see what happens. But I don't know. In terms of New Jersey, though, how does New Jersey... I mean, I'm a little shocked New Jersey's that bad this year. They did make some moves. They bring in a top defenseman in Subban. it looked like they were trying to make something happen, and it really fell apart. They fired their head coach, things of that nature. But
Right.
at the same time, none of those guys that they got back, those AHLers, I mean, they may have a cup of tea in the NHL, but none of those guys are bona fide blue chippers either.
No.
So you got 3 AHL players
And 2 picks.
and 2 picks, which that's a complete roll of the dice. If you don't draft well, I mean, some organizations can turn 2 high picks into at least 1 bona fide NHLer.
Some can't.
Some can't. And New Jersey, I mean, you can say, yeah, they picked and they got a top. Well, when you pick first overall, you shouldn't blow it, but that's, well, we're not talking about Edmonton right now, but I mean, at the same time, yeah, what they do with them is yet to be seen. It's all a gamble. And those are guys 2-3 years down the road. So, I mean, by the time they show up and do anything, is Subban going to be there?
Right. It'll be a different team.
Right. I mean, at this point, you're
Is
selling.
the management there?
If you're selling Hall, you may as well sell Subban. You may as well. Like, if you're going rebuild, go rebuild. If you're halfway in, be all the way in.
I agree.
Famous last words.
My question would be, though, does it make the Coyotes contenders, cup contenders now?
They just overtook Edmonton in the standings. So, I mean, it's not early in the season, but it's late enough where you're kind of like, yeah, you got to give them some respect. Like, yeah, it could fall apart a little bit, but putting Hall in that lineup, and they just, before he even showed up and played a game, they slid into first place. They deserve respect, if nothing else. And I would expect putting Hall into that lineup, they are a playoff team.
Well, they seem to be pretty balanced
Yeah,
through all lines.
I think they got 2 really good pairings on the back end. A little inexperienced to some degree. I mean, they got a couple guys, but still deep on the back end. They've got a good goaltending situation, and now they've got 2 young guys, 2 more veteran guys up front to handle the scoring load. The only knock I would say for the Coyotes, how Saskatchewan can you sound with one word?
We've given it away. We're in Saskatchewan.
I didn't call them Yotes. We could say Yotes. The Yotes. Okay. So anyway, for the Yotes though, I mean, the one knock I would say on going and getting a guy like Hall, Hall's played 5 career playoff games. Is he battle tested? He was a stud in junior hockey in the playoffs. And the way he plays the game, I would think it's reasonable to expect that he's going to play well in those playoff games.
We just don't know.
In terms of a 28-year-old being a leader, taking you through a playoff run when he's short on playoff experience, that would be my only point that I would ever make to knock the guy. I mean, I'd be a little nervous, but at the same time, it's like he's 18 months removed from an MVP trophy. So,
Yeah.
I mean, what more do you want? Like, I don't know. I think they took the Devils. They took them. Unless they can make those
Turn those picks into something.
right. And I mean, a first and a third is dramatically different quality of that second player versus a first and a first. But it should be a first and a second because it's contingent on them making the playoffs. So by all expectations, the third is, it's not a third. It'll be a second.
Right.
They're making the playoffs. So you should be able to draft some quality players from that. But there again, if you end up with 2 depth guys for a superstar, you still got took.
And it depends on the scouting staff.
Yeah, exactly. So they don't have old Lou Lamoriello there turning it into gold all the time. So anyway, we'll leave that one.
That's a pretty good rant on that.
Well, fair enough. But what more do you say?
For 2 teams I don't care about at all.
Well, I'm wearing my Flyers stuff tonight, but for a little different reason. But I have a brother who's a Jersey fan, so yeah, I pay attention to that team, whether I like it or not. But
The Flyers. Could be worse.
Could be worse, but anyway, Flyers. So we're going to talk about little bit about Mr. Lindblom.
You're going to talk about it.
23 years old. Hey,
It's pretty terrible.
like, yeah. So diagnosed with a form of cancer, but by all estimations, he should be able to get treatment and overcome it. But still, I mean, the whole organization's behind him. I think he's going to pull through, but good young guy. So hopefully it doesn't set him back in his hockey career to the development wise, or just to the matter that he could ever come back and actually play at that level again. So
Well, certainly at the prime age to fight something like that.
for sure. Good, young, strong, able-bodied athlete. But I mean, cancer don't care.
Sure doesn't.
It takes what it wants. It's greedy that way. It's mean that way. So all the best for him. That's all I can say there. But
Yep.
pulling for him. Hopefully no more in the not too distant future. So, and then I want to talk about the LA Queens. It's not the Sacramento Queens. Remember Shaq and that rant he had, the Sacramento Queens? The funny part is Shaq is now a part owner of the Sacramento Kings, the team he mocked repeatedly.
Life is funny.
I know. But anyway. Yeah.
So what do you want to talk about the Queens?
Well, Mr. Kovalchuk, desperate to come back to the NHL. Kings sign him, give him a nice little deal. Now he just cleared waivers, so he's now a free agent. So I don't know where he fits in, but there's got to be a couple of teams that are looking for some help. And I'm thinking, this is just me, but if you were in on the Taylor Hall sweepstakes, if you were in on looking for that one more bona fide scorer to deepen your roster, he's a legit NHL scorer. Kovalchuk can still score some goals.
So that
I
puts
think
Edmonton.
I think you put him in the right situation. He helps your second power play unit, if not maybe your first, depending who you are, how he fits in. But there are teams that could use him. He could score 20 goals, 25 goals potentially with the right situation from here to the end of the season. And he's a bargain. He's a bargain. So throw a dart and away you go. So I don't know, the Islanders. The Islanders are a good team this year. They're up there in the standings. They got some really good young players. They could complement for a playoff run for cheap. They're not a terribly deep pocket team or a big market team. Well, New York, but not the New York team. But, I mean, still, they got a good savvy GM in Lamoriello too. So he was always good at finding that guy for cheap that contributes down a playoff stretch.
Right.
And by every estimation, they're a playoff team. So I'm looking real standoffish here. Hey,
Yeah.
talk about these division rivals of the Flyers, and I'm just like,
You're already ready
this
to pull my
natural
jersey
ang-
over my shoulder,
Yeah,
over my
this-
head, and
this
feed
natural.
me a few.
I'm not clenching my fists by any means, but that may be next. Hey, but maybe a little bit of a stressor. But yeah, the Islanders, I would think it would be prudent for them to at least kick the tires, maybe bring him in. I mean, what are you out?
What's he fetch these days?
I don't know. That's going to be the question. Kovalchuk's greedy. We all know he's greedy by his past. I mean, not that it's bad, but he's looking out for bucks. I don't think he's terribly motivated by rings. I think it's money.
Then
His New Jersey contract, skipping out to the K, milking that for all he could, coming back. LA paid him the most. He's in it for bucks. I mean, he's made that quite obvious. So it's going to be a matter of who has the cap space and believes in him. It's not going to be throw a complete dart and go, well, league minimum. Yeah, he'll just show up and we're not out much. No, he's going to make you commit a little bit of cash, even if it's a 1-year deal.
I was going to say, would he want a multi?
And I don't even know if he's the type of guy you'd want to give incentives. I don't know that he'd accept incentives. He wants straight cash, homie. Straight cash. Put it in my jeans for me. So I don't know. The Islanders would be. I would think them. Boston and the Penguins are the other two that I'm kicking.
Well, the Penguins got a lot of
Krejci could use a little help off that. You know, they have a great top line. They're scoring a lot of goals. Pasternak is killing it. Bergeron and the Rat are. Well, they're good. They're good hockey players, but a little bit deeper, help the second unit. Penguins did really well. We went over Kessel and how he was excelling on that third line role, and that matchup was good. Potentially you take him to the Penguins. Maybe he jumps in there, does a little third line, wing type situation for a lot less than Kessel was making. And they're a playoff team.
And less cheeseburgers.
Less cheeseburgers, yeah. More vodka. But, I mean, they're another team that they're legit. They got bona fide superstars that can take a little bit of that load off of his shoulders. I think LA was expecting the old Kovalchuk to show up where he could bear the brunt of it and carry an offense.
Yeah,
and
those days are done.
Those days are done. And Kopitar's a good player, but he's a little older, so a little tougher for him to do too. But strange fact about the Kings. You want to hear a fun one?
I love it.
You love it?
Go.
So $11 million, that's a pretty healthy amount of change. You could get a pretty damn good player for $11 million.
Should be able to.
Next year on LA's salary cap, they have $11 million in dead money, and it is paying Dion Phaneuf, Ilya Kovalchuk, and Mike Richards. 3 players who no longer play for him. Pretty tough to, well, if you're not in a rebuild, that's maybe the sign. You gotta get rid of dead money, because even if you did draft well enough that you got a stud team, you're handcuffed.
Right.
So, yeah, talk about paying guys to go away. Anyway, that was my fun fact.
Wow. That was a pretty good rant on the Kings.
Well,
Another team I don't care about.
Well, how the mighty
since
have fallen,
Wayne Gretzky
though. I mean,
left.
Yeah. Another little Kings thing. Mr. Drew Doughty in the news talking about just a little while back, talking about how he still thinks that there should be fighting in hockey. It has a place. And I'm like, and I agree with him. I think it has a place. It has a role. It's part of the fabric of the game. I think it has a healthy respect, amongst the players. It fosters a healthy respect amongst the players. And the ref can't call everything, right? The ref's the judge. He tells you the verdict and the punishment. Who's the police?
Sometimes you need.
Who's the police? Who pulls you over and gives you a warning ticket? It ain't that ref. You need some police. Otherwise, anarchy. What would society be without police? Okay. Anyway, moving on. No, with the Kings and him saying that, and I thought, good for him. I agree. That's fine. He makes his point. But at the same time, you kind of have to laugh because every time he plays the Calgary Flames, a 19-year-old, now a 20-year-old, Tkachuk, ragdolls the crap out of him, mocks him, bullies him, and he doesn't push back. Either LA goes and gets a goon, or Doughty maybe needs to just, fight.
Man up.
Well, go after the kid and fight him. He's a bona fide NHL superstar defenseman. He shouldn't have to scrap, but I mean, there's a lot of top end guys who on occasion will stick up for themselves, especially when some punk 19, 20-year-old kid is mocking them repeatedly, not just throughout one game, but a
even
lot of
Sid or
games.
Ovi wouldn't put up with that.
Yeah, I mean, even just, take the kid and put him into the wall real hard. Just answer back. He hasn't really answered back. So it's like, is that a cry for help from your organization? Like, go get me a guy? Or is it all lip service? Like, he wants to seem like, I'm in favor of tough guys. I'm kind of I'm tough myself. I don't know. I don't know what he was really trying to say.
It kind of sounds like maybe he was trying to, tell management, can you bring somebody in, please?
Bring somebody in because I'm sick of little kids picking on me.
Yeah.
But Tkachuk's a legit, power forward though too. I mean, he's a chip off the old block. He ain't here to take your crap, man. No. So, I mean, I like the kid. I think he's a good player. I mean, he plays the game hard. He plays it the right way. He's a winner in my book, but Doughty's won a lot of stuff, but also had some pretty good teams with him. So I don't know. It was a comment that it put up a little question mark, a little balloon above my head came up, and it's like, wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
You're
not the tough
Do you
guy.
want a goon? You should get
Do you
a
think
goon.
you're the goon?
No. If he thought he was, at least he'd have tried to do something. I don't know. Yeah. But anyway, so
Have we covered everything you want to cover in the good old NHL?
Yeah, you know what? I'm pretty comfortable with what we've covered. I don't know. If people have questions, then we need to get an email address.
We do have an email address.
Do we?
Yes. Do we even tell anybody what the show is called?
I don't know. I'm not boardroom material on this. I'm not part of the executive.
That's right. We do have an email address.
We have an executive.
And we do have a show name. We don't have an executive. We're the executive. But yeah, it's the Above Average Joe's podcast.
If we ever have an executive, I'm just going to like walk in, slam my fist on the table and say, buy, sell.
Later.
What is he talking about? Let's get him another bottle and get him out of here. Anyway, no. We've got the Kovalchuk situation. We got the Hall situation. We got the Lindbaum situation. That's NHL in a nutshell.
NHL in a nutshell.
NHL in a nutshell.
Let's move on to a league that I enjoy a little bit more than the NHL, the CFL.
Yes, sir.
Because football's better.
Hey, you're the
than
host.
hockey.
You're the host.
I'm something.
Is this a family program or?
I'm not sure yet.
Not sure.
Not sure yet.
I was told to watch my mouth.
It's probably safer.
Like I've never heard that before.
YouTube will ask if we are family friendly. But CFL, so few coach signings.
Yep. We talked about Chamberlain last week. Stay, go, what's going on?
I guess it's go.
And they got the blue eyes of steel. Blue steel.
Blue steel.
Ryan Dinwiddie.
He's not only good looking, but apparently pretty damn smart.
Is he? He is.
So I've heard.
He is. He's a smart dude.
So I've heard.
He was notoriously smart even as a player. So
Yeah, just not.
one of those guys who gets it. Even if he couldn't always do it, he gets it.
Yeah.
So
Those
good.
usually make good coaches.
Yeah, they do. For sure they do. Especially guys who had to work at things to be that good, right? I mean, some guys are real naturals and they don't have to work and they're good. But that work ethic translates to the coaching side of things too, because they put in the hours, man. So no,
Well,
I like the Dinwiddie signing. I think it's a good signing. He's an offensive guy. I think he'll do well with quarterbacks. They've got some quarterback questions. Ryan Dinwiddie, why not? I mean, give him a shot.
And I don't think he'll make the same mistakes that what's his name made there.
Chamberlain?
BC. No.
Oh,
Crooked Hat Guy. Why can't I think of his name?
crooked hat guy. Is that how he
Clay
comes?
Brooks or
Yeah,
Clay?
no.
Yeah,
Kid Clay Brooks.
Clay Brooks.
Yeah.
He made the big mistake of not putting anybody around him. That was
Oh, for
had
sure.
any-
For sure. But I mean, Dinwiddie's not like new to this. Not that Clay Brooks was, but he only was in one organization. Dinwiddie played for a number of organizations. He's coached, for a fair amount of time. I think he's also being a quarterback, he knows and can value having good things around you to make you look better so the job
well.
can
You would
get
you
done,
would have
right?
thought Clay
So-
Brooks would have learned that in Calgary
Well,
too.
fair enough. But I mean, I don't know. It's just the nature of the quarterback position. I think it teaches you those lessons or the value of having something around you, right? So I think he'll be.
I think it's a great.
Yeah.
I love these young.
It's a smart hire. He's gonna get more out of your quarterback room than Chamberlain, obviously, because he's an offensive guy. But on top of that, though, too, I think he's going to bring in some quality coaches. Chamberlain had some quality coaches there too, but they need a quarterback. No quarterback, no chance.
No,
That's-
Chamberlain made that mistake of putting people that weren't as smart as him around him here.
Fair enough.
He learned his lesson.
He learned
but
his lesson. Well, and that's a good thing, though. I mean, it sucks for Rider fans that he had to learn the lesson here to some regard. He
Still
did
won a
bring
cup.
us a championship. Always
Still won a
love him
cup.
for it. So, I mean, but still, yeah, you should be learning. If you're not learning, you're not paying attention. So, no, that was a good hiring. And speaking of offensive guys, I really like the Milanovic one too. And
another great one, but that one I didn't see coming
Well-
until 2 days later when you see on NFL Countdown that the Jags are pretty much going to let go of their whole staff at the end of the
Wow.
season. So
And him being a quarterback coach down there, though, too, I don't know. I mean, you've got a young quarterback, a fifth-round guy at Minshew, coming in there.
Playing great.
That's got to be indicative of how good your coaching staff is at some level, OC
He's
or
good.
quarterback coach. So I mean, he really helped that kid to some degree, at least. He should get some credit. Would that not maybe land him another job, even though the Jag staff is probably all being fired by the end of the year?
Maybe as a quarterback coach, but
quarterback coach there makes what a head coach makes here. Like it's
being a head coach here can
Right.
then move you back to maybe being
and running your own program is something that a lot of guys want to do, right?
Exactly.
You got a lot of alpha males that want to run their own program. So it's a chance to run your own program. He's done it before, right? So lessons learned. We just went over,
Yeah.
So why not come back, run your own show, good organization, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he has a legit quarterback. He's not grooming a guy. He doesn't have to go over that hurdle. It's go out and let's go.
Yep.
So
Do you realize
hire.
though in the West we went from having possibly the second best coach in the division to probably the second worst coach in the division?
Who's that? The Riders?
That's just how strong now the coaching is in the West.
It is.
Like
yeah.
it's insane.
Yeah. But it's there's a lot of talent player.
Well, that's why, right?
But yeah, it's competitive. But football matters in the West.
But even the East is
It does. In the
they're
East.
they're trying to keep up too.
I'm not trying to say it's a completely imbalanced setup, but I mean, the West is highly competitive. There's 5 teams here, which makes it a little bit tougher to get through. You got to play them repeatedly.
Well, there's a reason that the West teams often beat the crap out of the East teams
Yeah.
when it comes to the Grey Cup,
fair enough. And
except for Montreal.
Except for Montreal. So, well,
For those few
Montreal's
years.
got a good coach though.
I like these young coaches, man.
Montreal's going to be dangerous.
I love all these young coaches that have CFL experience.
So, speaking of the Riders, we got a new player personnel guy.
Yep,
Stolen from the Stamps. Anytime you steal from the Stamps,
it's a good day.
good day in my book. Only problem I have is when Huff lets somebody go or somebody leaves Huff, they don't do so good after.
We'll see.
We'll see. Anyway, runs running the Canadian draft is a big deal. So,
That's something we could certainly use some help with.
well, for sure. And I think O'Day, being a lineman and a Canadian, he knows the value of that. And I don't know. I don't think it'll be a problem. I don't think it'll be a problem. O'Day is very experienced in that regard. So if they have
This
a
is really
shortcoming,
just his second draft.
yeah. But I mean, he's worked on a lot of drafts prior,
but-
right? So I don't know. There's a couple of re-signings. LaFrance, special teams guy, second on the team, 15 tackles.
I like him as long as we don't pay him big money.
I don't think they are. I think
No,
they
I
did
don't
the
think so.
first time around.
No, I think he left for bigger money. Or no, right, we did.
We did sign him, and he got a healthy paycheck.
Right after
And
that playoff
not a
game in Ottawa.
Not a problem with paying the guy. It's just
You better produce.
there's deliverables that are an expectation, and it wasn't quite matching up in that regard. So, yeah, but he's a very good special teams player. So, and a Canadian deepens your roster in multiple ways. So, good signing. We talked about Picton last week. No, we didn't. Nope, we
No,
didn't.
'cause
We
it's
didn't.
episode 1.
We didn't. We didn't catch that one from the receiver. No, Picton, I think it's a make or break for him.
For sure.
I mean, I know he was a little later pick, but
Isn't
he's
this year 4?
3, 4. Either way, make or break. Like,
Well, especially when you got
you're not on your
McInnes.
rookie contract anymore. Now it's time to get
Well, you got a couple big
It's time
young
to get in the
Canadian
lineup.
kids that want your job.
That too, right? Chomping at the bit, right on your heels, and they're big body guys, and they run every bit if not faster. I mean, all their measurables are there. They got him on some of those measurables.
Yeah, just can they put it together?
Picton knows how to get open. He knows how to catch the football. He knows how to be productive. He needs to get on the field to show that. Because if he doesn't get on the field after you sign that rookie deal is like the break-in. Okay. Orientation's over.
Yeah.
Produce. It's a cruel world, pro sports, but produce. So I'm pulling for the kid. I always like the local products. I always like seeing them go out there and make something out of it. It means a lot more to them, I think, than anybody else.
Absolutely.
So always pulling for him, but he's got a maker now. She's go time. So hopefully, fingers crossed for him. But there may be opportunities though too, depending on who else gets re-signed. So
Yeah.
how they want to set
Through
up
the
the
draft.
team, right? So I'm expecting I'm not expecting, Watson to be brought back. I mean, he's 35, 36. He was good.
Sure played good, though.
He did play good, but I would expect that at this point, Picton could come in and catch that many balls, get that many yards. And, well, like you said, two young kids chomping at his heels. Yep. So, I mean, they've got plenty of options with what they've got there, you know, without Watson to get those catches, get those yards, and maybe more. So I don't even know that they need three guys competing for the one spot.
Well, the receiving core is going to look
a little different.
A little different than last year.
But I like having some of those big bodies added, though, too. I mean, you know, you got a swing guy, and then you got a slot guy, and then you got another, you know, smaller bodied guy. I think Picton could move around. So,
well, you'd got to think that Manny ain't coming back. Watson's not coming back. These older guys are not coming back. So these young kids, somebody's got to step up.
And not to make it say it in a negative way that you need a token old guy, but it's always nice to have one guy to mentor. If Nauman's back, is he not that guy?
I would think you would hope so.
You know,
and I would hope they bring him back.
So,
but I don't think he deserves what his last contract gave him.
Well, and that's fair. I mean, there's definitely guys that are at comparable spots in the receiving core that are outproducing him. So,
well, that name and money has to go to Shaq, in my opinion.
Well, and even more, you got to have a little bit in the back pocket to re-up him if you can too, right? So, Nauman probably doesn't make as much, but I mean, does he want to take less? Yet to be found out, but he may say, pack sand and I'm out of here. So
it's completely his prerogative.
Yeah, totally his prerogative. I mean,
personally at this point in his career and kind of what he's done in the last couple of years, to me it would be, I'll take you if you want to be here and at the right price, but if you want to go,
said it last week. As long depends what the price is. It always depends on the price. I love when guys make their money, but it has to fit, right? You look at there's two sides to look at it from. As a player, I want to get paid. Never fault a man for getting paid.
Absolutely.
But then there's team goals, and team goals means you gotta all fit within that structure too. So if you're overpriced, you're usually first on the list for see you later. Here's your bus ticket. Wait, we don't have STC anymore.
No.
There isn't a Greyhound anymore.
There isn't?
No. Kiboshed. Done. Not feasible.
How am I going to send a transmission from Saskatoon now?
I don't know. Uber. Uber. Put it in the back of some dude's Prius. Here, you with the pretentious beard. Take this.
Are you talking about my beard? It's not pretentious.
Oh, well, if you start braiding it or something, I will mock you.
You will anyways.
That's what friends are for. Anyway.
Any other CFL news you want to talk about?
Well, we did sign, and speaking of a local kid, Atlee Simon signed with the Riders. He's a little cup of tea here last year, I believe. So always good. Local kid, all-time U of R leading rusher, second in all-time combined yards.
Really?
Neil Hughes is
the
top dog. Yeah.
Well, it's good. I like local kids.
Yeah, if he works out anything like Hughes did, I mean, we're laughing. We're all laughing. But good for him. Good for him. I hope he makes it. I hope he cracks the roster. We could use another punt returner even, kick returner type guy. I mean, we dealt one to Edmonton last year, but for receiver, nice little swap. Not sure everybody knows what I'm talking about.
Yep, Christian Jones.
For
Kenny, right?
Yep. Who killed Kenny?
So is Kenny under contract for next year then? I didn't see him I
didn't see him either, but
on the free agent list.
I would assume that list was completely accurate, that the CFL.ca site
is accurate.
Spilled out to us, but CFL's not always been known to have completely accurate information passed around out there, but I mean, I would believe it. So he's back, but does he make it through camp? I would hope so, but
depends who's there.
There again, depends on those other veteran receivers.
Or who they find in Florida.
Yeah. Yeah.
Isn't that where Shaq came from? Camp in Florida?
Florida's a hotbed, man.
So.
And I think it's an excuse to get some sun if you're a coach.
It's just, We'll talk about anything CFL just
Anything
to get a little
CFL.
bit in, even if it's hardly nothing.
Well, and I had one more little...
One more tidbit?
Oh, CFL schedule. You brought that up this morning.
All right.
How did you not remember?
Well, we know why I don't remember.
Yeah, goddamn old guy. Hey,
Yeah, it's
I got
partially that.
partially that. Even though I got more gray in my beard.
Well, you live a tougher life than me. You got 3 kids.
I love you guys. Most days.
Yes.
Anyway.
And not all of them are in their teens yet.
No. I'm nervous. Because once you get a certain amount of gray, it starts falling out.
That's right.
Yeah. I'm just guessing, but I'm fairly ugly dude as it is. How ugly am I bald?
Was I supposed to not? Was I supposed to not agree with you?
I was waiting for a save there, but you're just like nodding and
It's like,
smiling. It's like, yeah, oh, I know. You are. You're ugly.
You're an ugly dude.
Yeah, you're like, yeah.
Well, you look like what you'd expect a hockey player to look like.
Okay. Beauty's only a light switch away. Never forget.
So my dad says.
Oh, words of wisdom from a dad.
I can't even remember where we were.
We're talking CFL.
Oh, right, the schedule.
Yeah.
So,
First one, June 19th.
bye week. Week 1.
Jesus. We need...
Did you hear what Brent Lowther said?
No, I didn't.
So he ripped the CFL basically for why do we need 3 bye weeks when you play 12 games between 2 of the bye weeks? Might have shortened the schedule, 3 bye weeks. It's insane.
Yeah.
I tend to agree.
Did he threaten him with a roundhouse kick? Because dude can kick. He can kick.
He can kick.
He's going to go down to the office and just Chuck Norris this stuff right into being proper. No, first week bye. But it's 9-team league, right? We talked last week about getting a team, in the
Maritimes.
In the Maritimes. Can't come soon enough.
True.
So that's a
whatever.
It's still a dumb week to have it, but somebody has to.
Somebody
have
has to have
right?
it, I guess. But
odd man out.
it's weird that the rivalry games aren't at the end of the season.
Yeah, that's always
years.
That's always a peculiar one for me, and not always just the natural rivalry games, but I mean, we could probably schedule us against somebody who was at the top of the standings last year, like we were for the end of the year, because by all estimations, you should be pretty close, if not the same quality of football club. So, not that that's a guarantee in the CFL by any stretch, but I mean, if you're gonna hedge your bets, that's the way I'd hedge them.
Yeah, and I'm not sure the schedule and gate receipts, they look at the riders as where they want to make changes. Because maybe they moved the rivalry games to the summer so they can get more butts in the seat during the summer. Because people aren't going in the fall anyways.
But they are the cash cow. We're not going to pretend. I don't care who's listening right now in Canada or the world or the universe or just this basement. The Riders are the cash cow in terms of gate
Absolutely, they
receipts.
are.
So why would you mess with a cash cow?
Because it doesn't matter.
You want to get more cash?
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. If you're already going to put asses in the seats,
But here's the thing.
no matter who they're playing at the end of the season.
You say it doesn't matter, and to some degree you are correct. It doesn't matter. But you can only screw with it so much, so long, before people do get pissed off, and now you screwed a good thing up. Opening weekend means more in Saskatchewan in terms of gate receipts than a lot of places. It is a guaranteed sellout. CFL is a gate-run league. They need the sellout.
I agree.
Go to the sure thing. There should be a game here, week 1.
I agree.
I don't care who we're playing, because we're going to beat them. Total homer. But still.
Speaking of Homer, Simpsons, 30 years today, eh?
30 years, yeah. Oh!
30 years. That means we're old.
Does it? I was 12 when that came out. Not to date myself, but very formidably, very, yeah. Anyway. No comment. Mr. No Gray in his beard.
There's a little bit. Let's move on.
Okay, moving.
NFL.
NFL?
Oh.
NFL. We got a few quarterbacks we need to talk about.
Yeah, I was going to say that looks like a list of quarterbacks.
You want to go to the positives first, or you want to go to the negatives first?
Let's go with the positives.
Okay.
End on a negative.
There's only one dude I was really going to talk about as a negative.
Is he playing for the Chargers?
Yeah.
Let's start there.
Let's start charging into
You know
our
what? And I'm
NFL
watching
segment.
and I'm watching highlights from that game, and all I could think about was your new term,
Charging.
charging.
It's got to catch on. Hey?
If you keep talking about it, it
Any
will.
fantasy football guy out there, when you blow it,
You
you're
blow it.
charging.
I
right?
drafted
We've all-
Phillip Rivers.
We've all
in
started
one
the wrong
one
guy.
draft.
Have you?
Well, I got rid of him.
See,
I'm now rocking Kirk Cousins.
Kirk kissing Cousins. Very fitting to be in Minnesota with a name like Cousins. Anyway, no, Phillip Rivers, charging. San Diego. We're on to San Diego.
We're on to San Diego.
On to San Diego. But Phillip Rivers,
He looks
says-
terrible.
he does, and the numbers back that up. And he's saying now, or came out this week and said that
Is he
he's-
injured?
No, he's not too sure if he'll be back with the Chargers. I don't know that means he's going to retire and look after his baseball,
85
baseball team
children?
full of kids. But yeah, I don't know. Is he going to push on to someplace else?
Is he free agent?
Not even sure. Not even sure. I just saw the headline and I went, whatever, man. Keep charging.
Somebody will
Chargers
take him.
keep charging.
Cleveland will take him.
Really? You give up on Baker to put Phillip in? You would? Okay. I think it's Baker for 3 seasons. He starts every game, then be the judge. 50 starts, man. I told you last week, 50 starts.
We'll see. He needs an attitude correction.
You're being a millennial. It's
He
like,
needs-
no, I want it now.
He needs an attitude correction.
Oh, he does. But kids need to grow up.
Well, then they
It
need.
just sucks he has to grow up right in front of your eyes. But honestly, if you're Cleveland, how could you not be patient? What are you on? Like quarterback number 73 since you moved back to Cleveland? Be patient.
How are you supposed to be patient with the roster you've got?
Hey, there's talent on every NFL roster, maybe outside of Miami, but
I think that Miami could beat the Chargers.
yeah, probably. Fitzmagic would beat. He'd beard the crap out of that place. But anyway, no. Back to Baker though. Like, give him some time. Give him some time. Give him Kitchens calling plays again. Why isn't Freddie Kitchens?
Kitchens isn't going to have a job.
Well, and it's his own damn fault though too. I mean,
Kareem Hunt came out and said that players aren't playing to the end of the plays.
well, but part of that is coaching. Yeah,
But
first time head
If
coach.
players
but
are talking about that in the media, it's already too late.
maybe, yeah, for sure. It's
already too late.
Valid point. Totally valid point. But at the same time, reading your own press clippings and all the hype that they got in the preseason, yeah, they're not putting in the work because they think they're awesome. Their mothers told them so, and they believe it lock, stock, and barrel.
They can believe it
So
while they're
they-
sitting on their couch watching everybody
There's a
else
little
in the
bit of
playoffs.
laziness to that buying your own, buying into that hype, right? Like they were drinking their own Kool-Aid well
Of course they
before
were.
they got-
Everybody was.
right, well before Kitchens got a hold of them in training camp. So Kitchens maybe drove the point home or never made him accountable like he said he was going to. He seemed pretty tough and rough and gruff in his press conference when he was announced the dude. So, yeah, he drove that point home, contrary to what he said at that press conference. And the coaching style you would expect him to bring, having that attitude and that way about him, right? So, I don't know. His mistake was as a young head coach, be smart enough to know what you don't know. He knows how to call plays. He proved that last year, right? He got lots out of Baker. Brings in a guy to coordinate his offense and call plays. Call the plays. That's what you're good at. He can figure the rest out as he goes, even as a head coach. But do what you're good at. That's why you're there, man. That's why you got that job. So do what you're good at. So
then whose fault is it? Dorsey for not making sure that's happening?
Dorsey's a good football man. I really think highly of John Dorsey. I think he's a fantastic personnel man.
I like him.
But at the same time, do you want to be that GM that walks down and micromanages? You hire good football guys and you tell them to do their job. So
Until they're not doing their job.
until they're not doing their job, they're hired to be fired. Even the GM's hired to be fired.
Of course.
But he gets one mulligan. That's usually how it goes with GMs. So maybe Kitchens is his mulligan.
Well, I'm sure it is. I don't think they're going to get rid of Dorsey, but I think Kitchen's days are numbered.
Yeah.
Whether it's before the end of the season or not, I'm not sure.
I don't know. I think Dorsey's got a plan. He's a good personnel guy. I think when he talks, a lot of those guys will listen. And if they do a postmortem on their season at the end, if Dorsey can convince everybody to come back, stay put, everything else, yeah, they could learn some lessons, come out next year, give Kitchens one more crack at it. Maybe they clean it up, but highly doubtful. Like you said, Kareem Hunt saying what he's saying. I also read that they played Arizona this weekend, and multiple players from the Browns sidelines were yelling at the Arizona sidelines saying, "Come get me."
Yeah.
So
Landry.
Landry, the guy who last week was defending his best bud Odell and saying, he doesn't want out. He's staying here.
Well, that's what I mean with it's the whole culture of.
Wow, how immature is that?
That's just, it adds to my.
Do the work.
What I don't like about them, and I had high hopes for them going into the season.
Me too. I wasn't pegging them the Super Bowl contender.
No.
A lot of people were, but they're a legit good team.
I thought they'd be fun to watch.
Yeah, for sure, and a wild card team while they figure it out. Even so tough division, but there again, but. We started on Rivers. We're now on these guys.
Yeah, and I'm going to totally take us off on a little bit of side tangent here too. So my question to you is, if you're Chris Jones and you're sitting on Freddie Kitchen's staff and you're seeing all of these CFL jobs fill up now, do you feel like you should have done what Milanovic did and start finding other employment before it happens, or do you think if Kitchens gets canned, he could find another job somewhere in the NFL?
That's a tough one. I mean, yeah, for sure, right? It's every man for himself to some degree, but by all estimations, they're not officially out of it. Cleveland could. Well, I think now actually.
No, I think they're out of the.
Arizona lost. They lost this last weekend, so they're officially eliminated. But I mean, still, they're even finish the year one game under 500 potentially. Best case scenario, or a couple. I mean, yeah, that's a letdown, but it's not a disaster. So if Kitchens gets another crack, Jones gets to stay in that league and keep learning, keep proving himself, right? Possibly a promotion. But on top of that, there's another layer that they're buds. Do you take a job in the CFL and just say, you're on your own? See ya.
Yeah, but if you already know that... Even if Kitchens gets fired, he's not going to get hired as another head coach. So therefore, probably, and he's an offensive coach, so it's not like he can get an O coordinator job and go, "Hey, I'm going to hire my defensive-minded buddy."
Fair enough. No, fair enough.
Maybe he could hire McAdoo.
But if Jones even gets another year there, he makes more contacts.
For sure,
he gets more.
I just don't think. I don't think he's going to get that.
The other side of it is, and people harp on it all the time about players not being loyal, guys not being loyal. Maybe there's a small amount of him as being loyal to his friend, right? You're going down with a ship. I'm right here with you, right?
Just doesn't seem.
He's maybe not running for the lifeboats. I mean,
well, what was that?
Was that my phone? No.
I don't know what that was. Somebody must have texted and it went through the computer because that was real loud, man.
Huh?
Holy crap. Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Technical error that we'll have to fix up. But
dang, I think that was maybe a good way to get us moving on.
Moving on.
Yeah.
It's
like a shock collar for...
let's move on to Eli.
Eli, yeah.
Sayonara. Is he going to retire, or do you think he'll go somewhere else? Because he's clearly done, right? In New York. He's clearly done.
He's done in New York. Yeah. Oh, for sure. For sure.
But is he going to do Peyton and go to a contender and try and win one more so he has more than Peyton, or does he...
He doesn't have it in him to do that.
I think you are correct. I think...
Eli's a backup if he comes in somewhere.
He's Joe Flacco.
He's a bridge quarterback like a Fitzpatrick, gets you through a year so you can rebuild. That's the only way he's coming in and starting games for you. or he's going to back up on a very good team. Somebody really wants to get a hold of her. All good.
Oh, that hurts. I'm gonna make sure I have to turn that off.
No more dinging. Can I turn it off?
No, it would be on the computer. So,
But no, I mean, what are you going to do with the guy? If he's willing to take the pay cut, take a lesser contract, come in, maybe work with a younger guy, back up somebody who's legit playoff contender.
okay, you're Eli Manning, 2-time Super Bowl champ.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't see. He doesn't need the money. I just don't see him being a backup, wanting to be a backup.
Who's going to give the
Would
pay?
you have seen Peyton being a backup?
No,
Exactly.
but he's way, way more alpha than Eli,
True.
right? Peyton's the sheriff. He comes by the name Honest. And yeah, sheriff goes down.
Little brothers are always a little more,
A little more alpha.
a little less alpha.
Oh, little brothers. Yeah,
Yeah,
no, I
little
thought you
brothers.
meant Peyton. So
Oh no, big brothers are always the alphas.
no, sheriff, the sheriff, baby.
I know my brother's going to be listening to this.
Stand there and whistle Dixie.
He'll
or
be one of 4
you're
people
gonna-
who will listen to this.
You're gonna skin that smoke wagon. Let's get to work.
Yeah, so Eli,
Eli, no,
See ya.
I don't know. I don't know where he would fit in. I mean, there's some legit number one quarterbacks that maybe he comes in and backs up. Like Teddy Bridgewater's a very quality quarterback. He could probably start in a lot of spots, but
that would mean Drew's
It's very-
leaving this year.
no, true. No, I mean, in terms of having a guy backing up, that's
No.
a legit guy who can go in and win you games
Right.
if you're in a pinch, right? So Eli, I think, still could do that in a small span of games. He could win you some games. He knows how to play playoff football.
Maybe he'll become a backup in New England.
Maybe, but I mean, there are teams, you're going to hate me for saying this, but I mean, Minnesota, Cousins, Eli'd be a good backup there. They got some weapons. I mean, but something like that, where they got a team that's a playoff team, but maybe they just need to reinforce a little.
Yeah.
But can Eli be the backup?
I find that that one's hard to picture. It's really hard to picture.
Yeah, maybe not the best scenario or
No, just
situation
him being a
to bring up.
backup in
Well, but-
general.
but-
I really have trouble seeing that.
yes and no. I mean, the
I
only
guess it
way I
depends
would
how much the money is, right?
It's always dependent on the money. But I mean, beyond that, though, too, he handled this Daniel Jones thing very well. Never caused issues. He was a good teammate. He helped the kid out. They
exactly
said
what
lots
Warner
of good
did
things
for him.
Right. So, I mean, in that regard, yeah, I think maybe he could be a backup. He could be a backup.
He could be a backup. I just don't think he'd want to
Well,
be.
young kids, made his money, got his rings. Is he a Hall of Famer?
Yep.
Probably, yeah. Yeah,
Absolutely.
for sure he is. So,
You won 2 Super Bowls, you're a Hall of Famer.
But what more does he need to prove?
Nothing.
So, he'd probably retire.
I'd retire.
Yep. Moving on.
But athletes sometimes don't know how to.
I don't think Eli's that guy.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
No, I don't think he's that.
He'll go away. Him and his brother have the same amount of Super Bowls.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving will be civil.
Maybe he'll go play for the Jets and then he'll go on and play for Minnesota and
Do the
make a
Favre
run of it.
route.
Yeah.
Okay.
that
And
that hurt
onto
when I bring that up?
onto a actual legit quarterback, Drew Brees,
Drew Brees.
the champ.
If you throw enough and you hang around long enough, yeah, you're going to set some records. Good on him, though. How do you not like Drew Brees? Who would not like Drew Brees? He's a stud, but most of those guys that have those big numbers at the top, they're all studs. They're all good guys. They're all good leaders. So
And they played a long time.
played a long time. So for a guy who, and we got this wrong last podcast, he was a free agent.
Yes. Good
Either
thing
way.
nobody's going to hear that one.
Yeah, well, hidden in the archives.
That'll be a Christmas special.
a Christmas special. All the bloopers.
Here's the test podcast.
Yeah. Anyway, no.
Plug your ears, kids.
Plug your ears, kids. This is where Heath says the F word 11 times. With Breeze, though, like, I don't know, from a guy who had a ripped up arm and was very questionable if he'd ever have a career, that he sure did a lot with that patched up arm.
No,
hey?
no kidding.
Some good Band-Aids or whatever,
Yeah.
New Orleans. But
Good
yeah,
dude.
Good dude.
Works
Good
hard.
leader. Works hard. very
Great
hard.
leader.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, you're in good hands.
So
You're in
does
good
Brady
hands.
beat it on, and then
Well,
Breeze beat it
that
again?
is that why they're both saying I want to play till I'm 45.
They're just gonna keep going back and forth. It's not gonna go back and forth. It's just he may catch him this week, and then Breeze is just gonna just
Yeah, well,
keep chalking him up.
it's who retires first because
Yeah.
whoever plays one more year than the other guy is going to hold the record, and for a long time. Who do you see coming in the rearview mirror to beat one of those guys?
Unless the Saints win the Super Bowl, I don't see Breeze retiring.
I don't think he'll retire even if they don't win the Super Bowl. Like even if they do, sorry. Either way, I don't see him retiring.
No, I don't either.
I think he.
But I do see Brady retiring after this year.
I don't think so.
Well, is he going
I
to go
think-
play for somebody else?
I think he's wicked competitive. He's sick of having no weapons, or them continually cheaping out for weapons,
and him not getting paid.
Yeah, I think he's going to go get his money. I mean, he's the grocery money in that house because Giselle makes a bazillion dollars. But I mean, still, it's not just the money; it's the respect. Show me some more respect, and there's a power struggle there. They don't maybe show it as much, but internally, you got to question. You're a high level competitor. You got to question if I can do this on my own.
Well, it happens
How
to a lot of
dependent
guys.
am I on that other guy, right? So I don't see Bill retiring for the foreseeable future.
Ever.
He doesn't consider his job a job. This is
It's just what he does.
It's what I do. So, he loves football. He knows football. It doesn't tax him in any way. Like
It's what he does.
Yeah. So as much as Brady wants to go till he's 45, I think Bill could go till he's 80. So
Could Dick LeBeau it.
potentially, yeah. So, I mean, in that regard, at some point they're going to have to see if one of those guys can get by without the other. And I'm not saying either one's going to for sure fail without the other, but I mean, Bill's been very good player personnel guy.
Bill won't
found-
fail without Brady.
No, and I mean, he found Garoppolo, made him a bona fide guy. He's got Brissett that's starting somewhere else. Like,
He didn't
I mean-
look very good last night, though.
no, true, but I mean, he's at least a guy you could. He made Castle,
Oh,
like he's made good quarterbacks, but that's McDaniels and some of the other guys, Weiss, Cornell, some of the other high quality coaches he's had through there at those times
well,
to
yeah,
make
he's
some
put-
of those guys.
He's
But
put good coaches around him.
he has, and that's a sure sign of a guy who knows what he's doing, So, I mean, he knows how to groom coaches, quarterbacks, players, fine players. Yeah, I would not doubt Bill. Maybe it'll take him a year to get his right guy, but they already have a young guy in the system that they're pretty high on too. So, yeah. Speaking of Tom Brady, though, it brings me to my next point.
Might be the last point.
My last point. Well, fair enough. We've got a Jason Garrett situation. Why isn't he fired yet?
Because they won this week.
No. They lost the last 2 weeks. They should have been fired. So I listen to a lot of talking heads, and as a current talking head right now, Jason Garrett should have been fired. Everybody's
Yeah, well,
beside
everybody's pretty
themself.
much expected that he should have been fired by now.
right. And because you have a shot at making the playoffs or first place in your division, you don't fire the guy. Okay, you don't fire him. What if Dak or so they get hot, right? Joe Flacco got hot, got paid, won a Super Bowl. Dak gets hot, they get to the Super Bowl. How do you justify firing Garrett now?
You charger it.
You charger the shit out of it. Yeah. No, but realistically, how do you fire him?
You have
This
to.
doesn't end well for Jerry.
No. Or Garrett.
Right. So if Garrett
It's not going to happen. I know.
right, but if
this
he
is
pulls a rabbit out of his
fantasy world,
out of
but
his hat
no, it
you-
absolutely could happen. They do have the talent to make a
to
run.
do it, right? So and if Jerry fires him right now, he's going to cost himself a playoff. Like at what point do you fire the guy? I think you fire the guy when you figure out that he's lost the locker room or he's just inept. Well, that was not just a recent event. Get rid of him. Get rid of him. Who's the next guy? Doesn't matter. Figure it out.
McCarthy.
I know who the next guy's going to be.
McCarthy.
McCarthy? McCarthy wants to get back in, but I don't think Jerry wants McCarthy.
You don't think so?
I don't know.
Is McCarthy not his kind of guy?
Well, he'd get more out of the offense, but he doesn't run the ball, and he paid his running back, and he paid his line. I don't know if it's quite the
He
fit.
ran Lacey when he
True.
was a stud.
I don't know if it's. I'm not going to say no. I mean,
He certainly didn't use
I don't think
Jones
he's.
last year.
I don't
though.
think he's the 1A choice for Jerry Jones.
Who do you think it is?
Hear me out.
Well, I'm here.
I said this a couple of weeks ago, and then I saw a talking head, Mr. Cowherd, actually say it on air, and I'm like, you son of a.
You stole my thunder.
You stole my thing, man. You stole my thing. So, you're Tom Brady. What's wrong with being a Dallas Cowboy?
So you don't sign Dak?
Dak's not a $35 million quarterback, and that's what his price tag is. Turned down 30 already. I don't think Dak's a 30, but market says he's starting guy, young guy, second contract, give him 30. I'm not a Dak Prescott guy. Don't hate him, but I don't think he's all that in a bag of chips.
That's a very interesting thought.
Tom Brady, and you need a head coach, Josh McDaniels.
I don't think McDaniels is leaving. He's had opportunities to leave.
The whole he's the heir apparent, I'll call bullshit.
Do you think he'd follow Tom?
How long you got to wait for Bill to retire? We just talked
forever.
about it, right? So forever. You going to wait forever? I'm not. He's waiting for a better situation
Then the Colts.
than the Colts. The only thing that worries me, the Colts, he pulled out. The old Catholic method. He pulls out, he leaves. Why? Yeah,
No quarterback.
wow. But even if Luck comes back, whatever, right? McDaniels leaves, and I think the fundamental reason is you have a meddlesome owner. Irsay's a little bit of a meddler.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have the same football knowledge or the same football chops as a Jerry, but he pulled out because I don't think he likes the owner dictating things to him in any way, shape, or form. And he comes from a place where Kraft does what he does, but Bill does what he does. Bill's given that freedom to be the football decision guy. The only guy Bill doesn't get to decide about is Tom Brady because he's Robert Kraft's kid, is essentially what it boils down to. So there you go. Does McDaniels take a Jerry Jones job knowing Jerry
Could get Brady.
is the meddlesome guy that he is, though? But what would you want if you're McDaniels? I mean, you come in there, maybe he gives you the leeway. If Jerry really wants to win, Jerry says it. Jerry pays like he wants to.
Well, he paid Garrett as an OC to make sure he was going to be there to be the head coach.
Right. But Jerry needs to just learn one thing. You can talk it, you can pay for it, but you got to get out of the way to make it happen.
I don't know if Jerry... Well, he's gotten better, but...
Right. But I mean, Jerry's in the press every week, right? Talking about the wins and losses. The press runs to him every week now.
Well, of
wins
course.
and losses. What other franchise has the owner talking about the win or the loss?
Nobody.
Nobody.
Just Jerry.
And there's some prominent owners. Why does Jerry get the microphone first? It should be Jason Garrett. Get the coach's thoughts
But he's
on the
Jerry
game.
Jones.
He's coaching the team.
He's Jerry
Jerry
Jones.
Jones. But that's exactly my point. When Jerry makes it not about him and he lets his coach do his thing, you bring in the players. You coach them. John Dorsey just talked about him. Good GM, good personnel guy. Hey, Kitchens, I hired you. Do the job. I'm not going to tell you how to do the job. I just expect results because I know I brought in the players for results. Do the job.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't, I'll get the next guy to do it. Jerry needs to do the same thing. Bring in a quality coach. McDaniels would be that guy. Get the job done. But a Tom Brady McDaniels, that would be interesting. 'Cause Tom would have the weapons. Tom would have a line that can keep him upright.
A legit running back.
Legit running back. He's got all the things you'd ever want for a veteran quarterback. And he's got a guy there in McDaniels who knows they know how to run that system. McDaniels and him could potentially make it happen. And Jerry, if there's one owner in the league that has the balls to pull off a big move, it's Jerry Jones.
He would have to have given up on Dak at that point.
I don't know. Giving up, I know what you're saying, but is it truly giving up? I think you could sell. Like if you're getting rid of Dak in Dallas, you'd be pissed. As a regular fan, you'd be pissed off. But if I told you I'm bringing in Tom Brady,
Well, of course.
how long do you cry about Dak?
No different than probably when they brought Montana into
Right.
Kansas City.
How much did you miss that girlfriend when she broke up with you?
Well, who?
Well, who? Exactly.
Exactly.
Because I got something better now. You don't cry over that. Good riddance. Dak will find a job.
Oh, for sure.
For sure he would. Dak may be worth a little bit of cash to trade.
Everybody's
I
always
don't know.
looking
It was
for.
just a theory. It's a thought. I think
It's an
if
interesting
Tom
theory.
leaves, I think Tom and McDaniels could leave together. Why not? Why not?
Why not?
If you're going for it, go for it. So, yeah. Anyway, that was a little theory, and I was a little ticked off when somebody mentioned that on air the other day, and I was like, dude.
That was my idea.
But
It's a great way to end the show, though.
no, it is.
On a little bit of Heath's inner mind.
It's not that deep in there. It's dark, but it isn't
It's
that
dark
deep.
and moist.
Anyway, no. Well, it's a show.
It was a good
You
show.
want to call it the show?
It's a good show.
Okay.
Well, that was legit episode number 1,
Numero uno
of the Above Average Joe's podcast. And we will see you next week. Later.
later.